Years ago, I had the following experience. I and my boyfriend at the time had watched a film, and he said, "I'll take it back to the rental place," which was down the road from my house. It was late afternoon, and my parents were home. While he was returning the rental film, I was waiting in the porch and looking at the house across the road, where a boy had lived who died in a car accident months before. The boy had been about 14 when he died. I was looking into the house and thinking about him when I saw a figure appear slowly in the front window of the house. I could see a figure wearing a blue jacket, jeans, and could see a head but no facial features. Just pink kind of molted face. When the figure began to vibrate side to side, which was fairly frightening to see, I was of course shocked and scared. I turned back into the house and my mom said, "What's the matter?" I told her I saw something strange and told my boyfriend also. I don't think they believed me, but I saw it for sure. I feel still to this day amazed and in awe of what I saw. Feel honored really to have witnessed it. I have only told about 5 people, as I felt people would think I was strange. I was about 20 years old at the time, now 48, and still remember it clear as day. When I was in my preteens, I visited my friend's aunt with his family. It was a 2-week summer vacation. The first 3 or 4 nights, we would wake up to broken glass near our alcohol cabinet. Everyone in the house, at least 7 of us, just ignored it because it was creepy, so it was only mentioned in the morning. It stopped for about a week, and I really forgot about it since. I was having so much fun enjoying my vacation. It was around this time I noticed the aunt was an alcoholic. I rarely seen her without a drink in her hand. I was never exposed to alcoholics before, so I assumed they were all sloppy drunks, but she wasn't. She seemed very depressed and low-spirited. So about 1.5 weeks into the vacation, while everyone was asleep and I was watching TV, I looked into the parlor where the alcohol cabinet was from the living room, and I saw this demonic creature pacing in circles. It had to have been at least 7 foot tall and very wide. Its face came outward like a werewolf. It did not know that I saw it. I was so terrified I choked on air and I couldn't breathe. I knew I shouldn't let it know that I seen it while this was happening. So I closed my eyes and slowly turned away and tried my best to breathe as slowly as possible to not draw attention even while choking on air. I eventually caught my breath and I did not move or open my eyes until the morning. I never told anyone that story until years later. My friend told me he seen it too. So twice when I was in deep meditation, and again today when I was fixing to take a nap. The first time this happened to me, I was meditating for over an hour when I opened my eyes and saw a small black octopus creature in the air in front of me. Promise you won't laugh. The second time, it was a baby dancing on a living room table. Finally today, it was a mouse floating in the air in front of me. I thought it was caught in something as it slowly disappeared and went into the ceiling. Even though these ghostly creatures take different shapes, the thing they all have in common is their shock and fear when they realize that I'm awake and I'm looking right at them. I wonder if we all don't get visited by beings in our sleep. I also wonder if more people have experiences like this and just don't say anything about it or think it was some kind of weird dream. I can't chalk it up to a dream because I'm wide awake. And while people who have stayed up for days will hallucinate, I'm never that sleep deprived. Let me know what you think. A week ago, I suddenly woke up to a huge spider hanging above me and my baby, approximately half a meter away. I said out loud, "What is this?" And the spider moved away, while at the same time disintegrating into smoke. I got up and looked for the spider ghost, but found nothing. The spider was as big as my head. We don't have spiders like that in Switzerland. Anyone else ever met a ghost which becomes smoke upon discovery? Is there a meaning behind it being a spider? Could it just have been a hallucination? Any antidotes are welcome. So, on my other post, I stated my parents were separated. So I was going back and forth from my mom's to my dad's house. Well, my dad would have me sleep in the sunroom. I couldn't sleep because I would hear sandals dragging from one door to the other every time I tried to sleep. Every time I would drift to sleep, something would purposely wake me up. Well, one time I took a picture of my brother eating cereal, and in the background I saw a lady dressed like a pilgrim. I showed my dad, but he doesn't believe in those things. Anyway, another sleepless night. When I went back to my mom's, I was getting ready to shower and saw a bunch of bruises on me. She even accused my dad of hurting me, but he didn't. I think that room needed to be blessed. She needed to be put to rest. The landlord did tell my dad that she had passed away in that room. He was a very old man, just saying. But no one else experienced that except for me. So, I mow cemeteries. Funny, right? And they're rather large. So, I have lots of time I can listen to stuff. I listen to books and songs and often stuff like Jim Harold's Campfire. He's my boy. Well, I don't know him, but to me, he's one of the OG and supernatural podcasts. Today, I was on one episode back from his latest, and there was a woman who was asleep, woke up and rolled over to look at her husband, who was sleeping, and standing over him was a figure of a humanoid type being with a kind of floaty, wispy cloak or something. She mentioned the closest thing most possible would be a Harry Potter Dementor. She said it was kind of transparent, but she could make it out well enough. Creepy. But it connected a dot in my memory. After logging hundreds, if not thousands of hours of true scary story podcast, I remember another case of a person who saw a Dementor type of creature. If I remember right, he was out with his friends one night walking down the street when they noticed something floating down the streets up in the air. They couldn't make it out at first, but as they got closer, he said to his terror, it was a thing with a hooded type cloak with floaty wispy phrase. They tried to catch up to it, but it literally flew off and they lost it. He mentioned the Dementor similarities as well. Now, being rational, perhaps they're both lying. Or is the other imagined a Dementorish creature being influenced by the films? Or maybe it's really a thing, like the infamous Hat Man. Has anyone else heard the tale of this type of creature being? A side note, this may have been a bit more appropriate on the paranormal subreddit, but one of the mods was very rude to me when sharing my experience, so I left and never looked back. Maybe petty, but the guy was a prick for no reason. Our ghost sub has always been cooler to me. This next story was posted by Zealous Ideal by 9412 on Reddit. So, let's go ahead with their story. So last year, on Day of the Dead, it was around midnight, and me and my sister were making decorations for the altar. My sister got tired and decided to stop for the night, and my sister went to the bathroom to brush her teeth and stuff. And I stayed in the living room, and I was on my phone, just looking at stuff when I heard a tapping coming from the kitchen. It kind of freaked me out, because the kitchen doorway was next to the couch that I was sitting on. So I scooted away from the kitchen doorway, and I remember everything being pitch black. So I turned on my phone flashlight, but it didn't really help. But that when my sister came out of the bathroom and we went to sleep. But from my sister's point of view, I was holding my phone with the flashlight on and the lights were on. She found it funny at first, but then she noticed me staring at the wall with a blank stare, and it freaked her out. But when I snapped out of it and I walked to my bedroom, normally, but I didn't remember looking at the wall. All I remember is her coming out of the bathroom and her walking me to my room. Weird.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross